Southeast Asia's LNG demand will be increasingly important over the next 10 years, especially as demand really moderates in the traditional markets in Northeast Asia. Now, we expect Southeast Asia's LNG demand to contribute to over 30% of Asia-Pacific LNG demand growth. And this will primarily be led by the countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand. Now, all these countries have already built new regasification terminals and are even seeking to expand their additional regasification capacities. In addition, we have seen a lot of these companies really signing up for long-term contracts. This includes the national oil companies such as Pertamina, PTT, and Petronas. For example, we have also seen new players emerging, such as Pavilion Energy of Singapore, that's really looking to sign long-term contracts in order to support their bid for the Singapore LNG importer franchise. It will be increasingly important for suppliers to really build bridges with these new buyers that are emerging within Southeast Asia, and we expect them to really act as a foundation customer for a number of new projects. I think for LNG imports within Southeast Asia to materialize, it would be important to get private party participation. Now, this will really aid the capital development that's required for a number of these large projects to really take place. Now, how do you get private party participation? We have already seen some instances taking place in the region. One example is the Singapore LNG terminal that has really sought to refinance their LNG facility that has saw private participation from 5 banks. That's really to the tune of $1.1 billion. Now, in addition, in Malaysia, we have also seen a joint venture taking place between Petronas as well as the Dialog Group, and that's really an instance that shows where another private party has really participated in the regasification and pipeline infrastructure development. However, private party participation doesn't really occur on its own. It really needs the support from the government with policies on third-party access on regasification terminals as well as pipelines, and we really expect this to drive the development of new markets as these suppliers build infrastructure to penetrate new industrial estates. So that's one factor to consider. The other factor, in order for sustainable LNG demand growth, is really on pricing reforms. Now, we have seen pricing reforms taking place over the last few years, and that's really because of the introduction of LNG imports in all these markets. A lot of these markets traditionally have been exposed to pipe gas supplies, cheap pipe gas supplies, in order to really power the economy as well, their manufacturing hub. But with more higher cost LNG imports, it will be necessary for all these economies to continue to introduce mechanisms that will allow LNG imports to flow into the power tariffs that would raise the price. Now, these efforts must really continue that will allow the LNG demand growth within Asia to be sustainable.